Okay. Good afternoon, you amazing human beings. Guys, it is Monday, the 6th of March, and we're starting off this week with everything you need to know in the markets and so much more. We have a cracker of a week ahead of us. Guys, if you watched the F1 of the weekend, let me know. I'd love to know if you guys watched live. Alonso did a big thing there. I was screaming like an absolute mad person. My neighbors must have thought I have lost my mind. But anyway, let me know what you guys got up to the weekend. You had a good weekend. We really do trust you've had an absolutely amazing one. Now we are going to be starting off with a little bit of news. Before we jump into the news, just a quick shout out to every single one of you in terms of some of our MVTs. I can see there's MVTs in the house. You can see starting up first, Cohen, very first MVT to comment there. Marsha with us. Lana, Fabian is in the house. Garrett, Ivan Page, welcome, you amazing human being, as well as Sumelo is in the house. In terms of MVTs, guys, if you're brand new to the channel, if you're brand new to the live broadcast, just put a hand up in the air. Just let us know that we can greet you, and just greet you with the warm Globex 360 welcome. So just drop a little emoji, pop your hand up so we know you are a first timer with us right here on Globex 360 live TV. So you guys know what time it is. We're about to move into things. With Stuart putting up his hand. I know that's a lie, 100%. But to everybody else, let's see Primal, let's see Lemon, let's see Gala, Veshan, Heaven, Kian is there with us. First timer today. T is with us. Jay Stain with us. Welcome, you amazing human beings. So just so you know, Globex 360 Live TV is there for traders, by traders. We go through the markets, we analyze things, we look at opportunities. You are free and welcome to go ahead and do an analysis. You'd like to share that with me, my Telegram link is down below if you'd like to send that, and for that analysis to be featured in the show, for us to break it down, look at it together. Remember, everything we do here is for educational, entertainment purposes only, and is not to be considered financial advice in any way, shape, or form. So with the legalities out the way and the lawyers happy, let's jump into the news. And again, just a massive welcome to every single one of you who have joined us for the very first time looking at things today. So let's open up and let's start off with local news. You guys know how we do things. And on the local front, we're primarily going to be looking at our good old friend Eskom. So let's open up and have a look at what Eskom is up to and where they're speaking to us. And you know what it's going to be about. It's pretty much going to be about load shedding, front stage and center. So if you guys recall, we spoke about the possibility of Eskom talking about stage 16. And that is in essence just a draft of what could happen should stage 8 fail. Now, again, it's not a cause for massive concern. All you need to know is that instead of just suburbs going off, it's pretty much whole cities. So again, just stay cautious, stay safe out there. While the rest of will laughs at our pretty much one of our biggest state parastatals, right? So yeah, on the local front, not too much to speak about. There is still going to be the controversy around Diaka, as well as just general political issues with Eskom. So again, love to know your thoughts around that. I guess we're all kind of still tired of that, but we're still going to report on it and speak about it. Anyway, I have shared a link about what you need to know this week, and this is a great article from Yahoo Finance. This basically speaks about all the items that are going to be happening this week. Now, tomorrow we have Powell testifying, right? And essentially this is broken down into 2 days, right? So Powell testifies at the House of the Senate, and then he speaks in front of a different committee on the second day. So this is great stuff. If you're a Globex 360 account holder, we are going to be trading live tomorrow afternoon. We'll be trading New York Stock Exchange open. We'll be utilizing our reversal strategy as well as listening on Powell's speech live, right, over his testimony. Now, what you need to know about this is that he's going to be questioned quite heavily in front of the people that he's obviously testifying to, and that has a massive tendency to move markets quite a bit. Now, again, the people that he's testifying in front of, these are government officials. Now, you may think to yourself, why would he, why would the questions be difficult? The reality is, there's a lot of people that don't support his aggressive interest rate hike, don't support that it's doing enough for the economy, and that he may be forcing the economy into load shedding. I'm reading load shedding there, forcing the US economy into a recession. But then there's also his side of the fence where he's saying, hey, listen, we can't keep raising this debt ceiling. So it's going to be extremely informative. I'll break it down as it's happening. We are going to see a ton of volatility as that's happening. We will see big movement for the dollar as well as on Wall Street as a whole. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. It is going to be big. It is going to be massive. Now, I found an article which, for those of you who are Brent and oil traders, you may love this one. I will share this in the group directly after this. So again, if you're not part of our Telegram group, the link is down below. Go smash the link, go join our Telegram community, and I'll generally share a lot of the updates directly there, links to articles, etc. But in essence, there are big analysts saying that oil is likely to go back to the $100 per barrel on Brent crude, right? So we are going to be looking at Brent as well today and have a look at, can we take advantage of that? You're welcome to go and read through this article, but ultimately they are citing the demand in China, right, is continuing to ramp up. And I just want to show you guys this crazy graph here. This is in barrels per day, millions of barrels per day, right? So just after the pandemic, essentially China was sitting at 5 million barrels per day of consumption. They're now sitting at about 15 and still ticking ever so higher. So again, for those of you who Brent crude, this will also affect WTI as well as other commodities, but primarily we're going to be looking at Brent to see if we can take advantage of Brent, looking at the different opportunities available to us. So it's now time to jump into the fundamentals. But first, before we jump into that fundamental data, I just want to go ahead and show you guys really quickly what is busy happening on the S&P 500 heat map. Okay, so someone's saying the sound is busy peaking and going up and down. Let's just see here. Audio not good. Let's just double check. Okay, so we will quickly do a quick intermission. Let me just reboot the sound device. So give me 30 seconds because I know how difficult it can be to listen when sound is just not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So give me 30 seconds and then we will jump right back in there as we quickly just do a quick reboot of the sound. It is Monday. We can expect some gremlins. So give me that 30 seconds and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so you're just gonna have to let me know there. That was a quick reboot of the audio devices. It may have worked, it may not have worked. I don't know, let me know. But other than that, there's not much else I can do. You guys just let me know in the comments down below. I would appreciate it. Shamim saying much better. Thank you, Shamim, you absolute legend. All right, so let's jump back in. Let's have a look at what I was getting into mostly in terms of those fundamentals. So S&P 500 heat map cleared out just before we went live this afternoon. But what you need to know is we were mostly in the greens on that S&P 500 heat map across the board, right? So stock market's loving this afternoon. I'm going to show you a little bit about why. There's some key price action that we do need to look out for. But looking into the economic calendar for this afternoon, we have a fairly clear afternoon, right? From some of those big fundamentals, the only big item of consideration for this afternoon is going to be that purchaser manager index for the Canadian dollar. You can bet we're going to be trading it live this afternoon. We are going to be breaking that down. What does that mean for the markets and where is USD CAD sitting and how can we take advantage? You can 100% guarantee we have a trade available for you on that one. So you do want to stick around for that. We do also have the New York Stock Exchange opening up in the next 3 minutes and about 40 seconds, 38 seconds. So we will be trading the New York Stock Exchange open as well as our reversal strategy looking at 5 o'clock as we also dive into that purchaser manager index data for this afternoon. However, looking into tomorrow is going to be the start of some of this big data, right? As I explained, Papa Powell is testifying tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. So you do not want to miss tomorrow afternoon show. It's not going to be a public show. You need to have a Globex 360 live account. I believe this is going to be a Premium Plus edition show. So that means a minimum of $1,000 in your Premium Plus account to catch tomorrow's show live because it's going to be big, going to be massive. We're trading fundamentals. We're going to be trading New York Stock Exchange, the 5 o'clock reversal, Powell speaking, a ton of information, a ton of strategy, a ton of teaching. So you don't want to miss this one. It is going to be big. It is going to be massive. Okay, so a ton of data, a ton of things to look at and massive opportunities on the horizon. As always, looking into opportunities for the balance of the afternoon. So let's move into our analysis as we're going to start off with looking at the New York Stock Exchange open. We're going to start off with indices, and then once the New York Stock Exchange moves, we will then go into the dollar index and some other opportunities this afternoon. So let's just straight into the indice analysis, and then we'll open up and have a look at what opportunities lay for us ahead on some of the other pairs. Again, as always, if you'd like me to open up your analysis and give you some tips and pointers, or even just discuss it in general, you got some beautiful price action, again, you can send it to me in the link down below. That's the direct link to my Telegram. You are more than welcome. I'll do check it periodically. I'm not super fast on it, but I will check it every so often and every now and then. Okay, so moving into the New York Stock Exchange, I just want to open up here and I just want to show you guys really quickly where we are currently at as we start off the session. So far left, we do have, and just behind my head here, we do have the US City, otherwise known as the Dow Jones. Then dead center, we've got the NASDAQ, and then far right, we've got the German 30. Now, what we need to understand is that we already are in a breakout situation, right? I've looked at and already taken a buy pre-session this afternoon because of the current price action that we're seeing. This is currently looking at the Dow Jones, otherwise known as US 30. It is a favorite to many just purely because of its pip count. Dow Jones already from a price action perspective has broken out. If you guys have my custom indicator set, then you would have got that notification on that breakout there in terms of that move towards that top side. I just want to point out, however, as we look into the session, I'm just going to take a zoom out on US 30, just show you guys some really good price action. For those of you last week, as well as looking into Thursday, Friday, I just want to go ahead and show you guys that we were looking at a bit of divergence here. We pointed out that we were looking at divergence on the RSI. We're getting those higher lows on the RSI, and we started to see that US 30 was obviously in that channel, that trend towards the downside. And then we got the US 30 that started to move outside of that market structure and then ultimately into that bigger breakout formation, right? It started to happen a lot quicker looking at the 15-minute time frame. So again, if you guys have my custom indicator set, then you should be smiling. Nice big moves there, and you should be capitalizing on that this afternoon. Now, just looking into the 1 minute time frame, because that's what we're going to be dealing with this afternoon, again showing that little bit of a breakout that we had already, seeing markets then push towards that top side. We are about 2 seconds away from the New York Stock Exchange opening up, and we're going to see where the volume is, right? I'm already in a buy, so I'm not chasing the original direction. My stop loss is already at entry right now. So if markets continue to press down, I will be closed out of this position. And then I'm going to look for the 5 o'clock reversal. So for this afternoon, we're not too worried about any of the impulse moves here. If the impulse continues for a buy, we may look at that. However, I am looking at only buy opportunities this afternoon for any sort of reversal for a couple of reasons. This is US 30, right? I'm just going to put a little bit of a notification alert there and an alert there as we switch over to the other charts. US 30, right? Again, paying attention to the 1 minute time frame, this trend that we've got here, this channel that we've obviously already started to break out of. Looking at the NASDAQ, we have the exact same trend, exact same channel. NASDAQ is showing that top side move for the New York Stock Exchange, and then also having a look at German 30, the exact same thing. However, channel is slightly larger. German 30 for the start of the session is showing a little bit of a push towards that downside that we do obviously need to take into account. However, I'm looking at the NASDAQ and looking at a nice, strong and healthy push. Once the NASDAQ started to break out at that point, exactly at 3 o'clock, is when I looked at my US 30 buy opportunity right there on that 3 o'clock mark. Looking at the New York Stock Exchange open, New York Stock Exchange does look negative, which may close out my buy already. I've already taken out some profit there. We're not going to be chasing any sort of buys here this afternoon, right? Again, also considering where we are from a channel perspective, this is having a look at a 30-minute time frame. We are in that rising channel right there, okay? Dropping down to a 15-minute. We have a decent amount of support / resistance in our area, in our zone, right around where we're currently at. So we would need to really smash through, primarily on the Dow Jones. We would really need to smash through that 33 or 33367 mark to really sort of see any big downside moves here, which we obviously need to and will be paying quite a bit of attention to. So I'm not looking for any shorts right now. I'm looking at buy opportunities, starting the week nice and strong. Obviously leading up to that Powell event is where I'm going to be keeping putting most of my attention towards this afternoon. Having a look here. All right, my trade was not closed. We got an initial little bit of a spike down. My stop loss nice and safe there. Just covering my entry point right there, which is perfectly fine. So if you are already in a buy situation here, you should be smiling. Nice strong push. NASDAQ gave away the buy a little bit earlier. the spike was to the top side. This is again looking at the NASDAQ. Again, I'm holding a buy position. We're getting a nice little bit of a, looking on a 5-minute time frame, we're getting a beautiful pin bar. Look at that massive pin bar on a 5-minute time frame. Good pin bar right there. So definitely encouraging to see. I would like to see the New York Stock Exchange continue towards the top side. If you aren't in a position yet on a 1-minute time frame or even 5-minute time frame, you just want to look at, do we break through today's session highs, right? Today's session highs peaked out at about 1535, 1545. And if we peak those highs, you may want to get into some sort of buy position over there. I'm going to put in a trailing stop this afternoon, just while we focus on some of the other analysis. Having a look here at this market. Let's see where I want to get in. I'm going to put in about a 5,000 points trailing stop. If you are getting in long on this market, then you should be smiling. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so depending where you are looking at getting entry into this thing, again, whether you're NASDAQ, whether you're in US City, you should already be in profit and or smiling. So for this afternoon session, we're simply leaving the New York Stock Exchange open to allow stock markets and indices to continue that little bit of a rally. Depending where you are from just a pure pip count, we are running about 600 to 700 pips in profit there. However, we can still expect a ton more if we can see that rally continue towards top side. We had a good amount of support, specifically looking at these little bit of a rising channel, rising formation. And for me, I'll start to bring out Trump once we see about 1,000 pips. So if we breach this level over here, I'll bring out Trump to do his thing. So yeah, if you're in that buy, then just drop a comment there. I'd love to know, love to hear from you. On a 1-minute time frame, it obviously looks a little bit more crazy. Nice, big, strong candles there, showing a definite push for the New York Stock Exchange market towards that top side for this afternoon session, right? Again, we are referring to this as iceberg trading, right? In the sense that we allow the New York Stock Exchange to open. It reveals its hand. This afternoon, we saw a little bit of a push initially towards the downside. The NASDAQ is showing its hand towards the top side, initially taking the hand or the first identification, the first identifier where the market goes. Again, we have a 5 p.m. strategy. We will look for a little bit of that reversal, but we'll also be incorporating some of that CAD data into that trading situation and setup. So let's transition now into analysis of FX as we open up some of the opportunities available to us on the straight up FX analysis side of things, and what we can expect. We're going to start off our FX analysis this afternoon, primarily looking at that dollar index, which I have here just behind me. So look at the dollar index this afternoon. We are seeing a little bit of a precarious position. I've really spent quite a bit of time on the dollar index trying to map out what is it trying to achieve, what's the dollar index trying to do. I'm currently sitting on a 4-hour time frame trying to map this one out, and it's looking a little bit strange to me from a pure price action perspective. I'd love to know you guys' thoughts on this. If you've got a cleaner price action situation, for my particular analysis, I've utilized a parallel trend or parallel channel tool here and simply just dragged through my support / resistance, in this case support, just to try and map out where this could end up being. This is the cleanest I can identify, or the cleanest way I can essentially set this up. So yeah, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts on the dollar index. But based on where we're currently sitting, the dollar is poised for a little bit of that strength, right? We're currently sitting at support. We're both at flat support as well as diagonal support. Dollar index is essentially positioned for a nice little bit of a bounce here. So that's what I'm interested to see in this afternoon's trading session. And do we see a pullback of this 104 level? And do we sort of move closer to the 104.6, 104.7 level? And ultimately, can we get some sort of constitutional breakout here? The 105 level would be amazing to see on the dollar index. Now, again, looking at the fact that the dollar index is currently at support, and also please taking into account that even though we've got this kind of like messy little price action structure, I'm just going to do bigger candlesticks so this looks a bit cleaner there. I just want to also point out the fact that this particular structure that I've drawn out hasn't been the most reliable from a support perspective, right? We have at times where the dollar is ejected straight through this level for quite a bit of time. This is a 4-hour time frame, so you can imagine, in this point in time, 11, so this is basically two trading days went through support. Over here on the 14th of February, we went through support for quite a bit of time there. Let's have a look at how much that was. Okay, so it was just about an hour, but again, it was a pretty scary hour. 14th of Feb. I think that was CPI, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So let's, yeah, that's obviously what I just want to point out there, because one support's not a surefire thing towards that upside. So please just take that into consideration. I see Dan Gonzale is asking about gold. We will get into gold. Trust me, we will get into gold. We are going to deal with that as we get into our commodity section. Now, looking at USD, this is going to be a pretty interesting one. Again, guys, please remember, we do have our trading talent, right? So if you want to win your share of that 40,000 Rand, you want to then obviously jump in and enter in on our USD trading competition, right? There is a leaderboard available to you. So every single day we upload and update the leaderboard. This is a volume-based talent, right? So the person who has the most trading volume on USD will win their share of at 40,000 Rand funded towards their live account, where you can just make some big moves in the market. As you know that you should. A ton of you, I've seen a ton of skill, and all you require is a little bit of capital to make your trading dreams come true. This may be a shot. I don't know. Give it a shot. It's an absolutely free challenge, so you can jump in and have some fun with that. Love to know your thoughts around the challenge itself. Okay, beautiful stuff. So as I said, let's open up here really quickly. Again, USDs are a massive trading opportunity here. Just winding out a little bit and just maybe going onto a 4-hour time frame, just so we can just recap really quickly where we're currently sitting in USDs. I just want to point out the fact that we're on this, bull market, primarily since pretty much the whole Feb. Feb has been a bull month, and literally on the start of March, we saw that little bit of a breakout or break towards the downside on USDs. This is a 4-hour time frame. Looking at a 1-hour time frame, you can see we stuck very tightly into this range. So this range, I may be looking for some sort of short opportunity here, but again, considering the fact we just looked at the dollar index, right? The dollar may be getting a little bit of strength here. If the dollar does get that little bit of strength, then looking at USDs, we may then see some sort of breakout here. Again, into the 1826, 1831 zone, definitely possible. And then again, there on after, you guys know the sky's the limit. We will certainly then, if we break out of this little bit of a sideways consolidationary zone here, we definitely have that 1851 in sight. So again, you want to take opportunity or take advantage of that and get yourself into the challenge for your share of that 40,000. Go ahead and test your stuff on USDs. Let us know if you got some trade setups, if you need some help, if you're looking for a secondary set of eyes. Again, as always, my Telegram link is down below. Take a screenshot, send it to me, and I will give you my personal opinion as best I can looking at that. Now, moving on to commodities, again, as a hot topic, and there's a lot of questions around different opportunities available. We are going to be starting off with gold as per Dan's request. That's not USD, that is gold right there. So having a look at gold, where gold is currently sitting, I'm looking at gold on a 4-hour time frame. If you guys remember our analysis from the other day last week, we were talking about this channel being broken, and gold would first need to clear, having a look at that 38.2 fib level before we look at anything substantial from gold or taking gold all too seriously. Jumping in on a 4-hour time frame, you can see that we broke out of the channel. We hit the 38.2. We peaked at it for a second, ultimately then broke through. And where we are currently now on a 4-hour time frame is a little bit of a bullish move here. Now again, we may see dollar-related markets stall out this afternoon, and that's primarily going to be based on the fact that we obviously have, that big Powell testimony tomorrow. Now, markets are looking at any indication. Is Powell going to be dovish? Is it going to be a little bit softer? And we've seen this in the past, right? Powell comes through very aggressive when it comes to his interest rate announcements, comes through very strong. We will do whatever it takes. But then we've seen him completely 180 in separate interviews and questionnaires, saying, hey, you know what? Inflation is there, but you know what? Everything's under control. We're seeing all the data we want to see. So again, I do believe certain markets are basically waiting on that information. Now, whether gold is going to be that particular market, I can't tell 100% with certainty, but I do think market would be proceeding with a little bit of caution this afternoon, looking at where we may obviously go tomorrow. Now, just as a bit of a side note, any sort of dollar strength, obviously, you guys know, any sort of dollar strength here would cause gold to essentially fall, right? Would essentially, let's just have a look at XAUSD. So dollar strength here. So we definitely want to be paying attention to that, right? So dollar strength, stock markets tend to suffer. commodities tend to suffer, right? Just in terms of their pricing. Dollar weakness. So we see any weakness in Powell's testimony tomorrow. That might be the perfect opportunity to have some longs on commodities, right? Speaking of commodities, let's have a look at that Brent. As you know, I wouldn't bring up Brent if I didn't have the price action that I definitely wanted to show you. So let's have a look here quickly in the background. No, that is not gold. My system keeps thinking we are lagging behind, right? So we spoke about Brent in the past couple of days, and I just want to show you guys this price action here. It is a little bit technical. Please don't worry about it. We see a ton of things happening, but ultimately all I want you to understand is that we are in that symmetrical triangle formation, looking at the price of Brent crude, right? There's a 4-hour time frame. We're looking at these bull impulses, these corrective retracements, impulses toward downside, corrective retracements to the top side, purely because of the fact that again, we were in this bull territory. Just taking a zoom out really quickly, we're in this long term on a 4-hour time frame, long term bear market. The fact that we've started to now actually break out of that bear market, something like that there, right? So break out of that bear market, I'm looking at this basically being a bull market formation, a symmetrical triangle that is ideally supposed to or trying to break to the top side. So I'm looking at, again, where those retracements would be, where we would see those movements there. So I'm measuring Fibonacci in terms of retracements to the top side. You can invert that, it doesn't matter. But ultimately, what we spoke about last week is the fact that we have, these impulses top side, and then these corrective moves, impulses downside, corrective moves top side. So last week we talked about the fact that Brent may make a push towards the 61.8 just on a pure price action perspective, but the more commonplace for Brent to make that retracement is sitting right there, that 78.6 zone, as we've seen in the past. The 78.6 of this previous move is sitting right there at that $85.26 per barrel, right? We saw Brent punch through the diagonal resistance level, smack that at 78.6, ultimately come back down for that retracement. But looking at where we are now, in understanding a little bit of the bigger picture, in some of that kind of demand for Brent crude, I just want to point out the fact that we have quite a bit of trade opportunities here that we may need to start really considering. The first one being the fact that, we have broken out and made that successful retest, broken out and made the retest right there into that zone. But for me, the value proposition in terms of where I'm really looking at this from a trade perspective is if Brent can get back above that 78.6, so specifically $85.32 per barrel, that for me is going to be the key breakout area where I'm going to consider getting long into Brent from an investment grade type position. So just here, looking over to my side here, again, that 78.6 breakthrough right there. That means that we go all the way to the 88.2, and then even further. I mean, again, looking at a 4-hour time frame, the opportunity for breakout is massive, right? We could see Brent again, as analysts have said here, hit all the way to that $100 per barrel. So massive top side opportunity available to us. So that is what we're looking at from a commodities perspective. We're going to skip on cryptos for this afternoon because we have so much other data we want to break through and obviously get through together. Now, having a look at the performance of our US City trade position there, my trade was just closed out by that retracement. Let's have a look there. Big impulse to the top side. My trailing stop just closed. I think literally a second ago prior to switching to this chart. I could see I was running in profit and that then closed out for me. And we can see we're busy with that retracement situation there. So trailing stops are absolutely key when it comes to some of these sessions. They're going to be your best friend when it comes to locking in some of those profits. Now, what I'm seeing evolve from a trade perspective, again, this is having a look at the Dow Jones this afternoon, USA 30, is I'm seeing that we are making this price action formation. So what I'm keen for this afternoon and primarily looking at is, do we come all the way back down, right? Do we have a retracement back down to this zone? And it's going to be quite easy for us to measure this one out. We're going to utilize our old trusted friend Fibonacci here. And again, do we pull down to that 78.6? Let's just zoom in there. Do we pull down to 78.6, 88.2 for a rebuy situation? Or does the 5 o'clock reversal happen and smash through the floor on that 88.2? That is essentially going to be the trade that we follow and the trade that we look at for this afternoon. But one thing is clear, this bear retracement, or the start to Monday from a bear perspective, has definitely been smashed. It's definitely been broken. RSI looking quite healthy, just from a divergence perspective. We're still making those higher lows. Look at the RSI and MACD combo there. And obviously from just a pure price action standpoint, we are making those higher lows. So certainly demand for the top side. For me, I'd like to see a nice deep pullback to 78.6, and then potentially a continuation or rally into that 5 p.m. Even though it may not be considered a reversal for this afternoon, I would like to see a continuation to the top side, right? I think markets this afternoon are going to take advantage of any sort of perceived fear for tomorrow afternoon, right? There may be a lot of traders this afternoon looking at the fear of Powell coming in extremely aggressive and saying, a whole bunch of things about, interest rates need to be hiked quite aggressively. The reality is the markets have priced this in, right? The markets have priced in that interest rates will need to go higher for longer to bring down inflation. That's priced in. The market has priced in the fact that the Federal Reserve will do whatever it takes to essentially bring these interest rates under control. Powell has never wavered from that. The only time he's ever been dovish is in his approach to say, you know what, yes, things are bad, but they're under control, right? Yes, things are bad, but, they're going to bring the economy back into control. So in terms of Powell's speech tomorrow, there is a lot more opportunity for good than there is bad. But I do believe that bad is priced in. I think that essentially a ton of people are going to expect some sort of negative moves there. Again, we are going to be trading that live, right? So as Powell speaks, as the questions come in, it's pretty amazing to A, listen to the question, B, understand what the question is about, and then C, listen to Powell's answer, and ultimately D, interpret what that answer really means, right? Because Powell's a super clever individual. He understands that, from a financial perspective, in terms of the markets, he might be the single most powerful human being on earth when it comes to what he says and the impact on markets. Everything he says, every word he says, the markets hang on to every single letter. So again, that's going to be quite entertaining for tomorrow. Something I'm definitely looking forward to, trading with every single one of you. Now, we are going to do a 5-minute intermission this afternoon as I quickly just do a refresh, grab some water, and possibly some of this Red Bull. Guys, Red Bull Coconut Edition, not a sponsor of the show, but I can guarantee you where you want to be for the balance of this summer. I'm going to quickly do a battery refresh, rechange. Again, if you're brand new and joining us for the first time, guys, let us know what you think. Is it too technical? Is it good? Is it flowing? How are you enjoying your brand new home right here at Globex 360 Live TV? It's an absolute pleasure to have every single one of you. Now, again, we're going to be live trading at 5 o'clock, looking at the little bit of reversal, looking at the Canadian data come in. I will show you my USD CAD analysis in a second. So yeah, let's just do a 5-minute refresh. I'll see you guys in 5. We'll go to music. And again, as always, if you got some analysis, link down below. If you'd like to send that through to me, we'll look at it and we'll speak about it, right? That's what it's all about. There's a community. Just quickly reading through the comments before we move out. Clayton from Vegas saying, how to get the indicator set? The indicator set is for Globex 360 channel supporters. So if you want to be a supporter of the channel, first smash the like button. It's absolutely free. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's a join button if you'd like to be a supporter of the channel. That is, I think, about $10 a month or more. The lowest number we could put in there, but ultimately makes you an MVT. You get a special badge, perks to special things. Those special things include my personal indicator set and even my charts from time to time. So if you'd like to become a supporter of the channel, smash the link and join us. I can see that he has subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the Globex 360 family as we enter into this quick recession. Is it recession? What's the thing that's technical term? Or intermission, not a recession. Nobody wants to enter into a quick recession. No one wants to enter a recession in general, but yeah, we're not going into a recession, guys. We're traders. We can trade through anything. Okay, guys, 5 minutes. I'll see you in a bit. I'll see you guys now. See you now. Okay, so either I've completely broken the mic or it's better. One of the two. It's not going to be any gray area. Let me know how the mic sounds. I heard Fabian inboxed me and says my beard's very sexy. That's what I heard. I'm not 100% sure if this is factual or not. Yeah. There is no nostrils here. Yeah. Anyway, guys, listen. Let's quickly have a look at USD CAD really quickly as we dive into the markets and just see what opportunities will be available to us should we get some of that PMI data. So USD CAD, let's have a look at this on a 4-hour time frame. Actually, let's zoom out. Let's go on a 1 day. I want to show you guys a bigger picture of what I'm seeing. So USD CAD, we can clearly see a little bit of bull territory. Again, we're seeing a ton of these symmetrical triangles in the markets in the past couple weeks, right? Again, December being a banger of a market, January being a little bit sideways, February being chaos, and now we're starting to see March a little bit of that correction in these chaotic times. So just having a look at where we are, again, 4-hour time frame at that symmetrical triangle, really winding into that point where, you know, we expect these symmetrical triangles to continue to the point of apex, to range closer into that point of breakout. However, we got that breakout a little bit earlier. We have a minute and a half before we get that data. And now in terms of where we are, we've got that breakout to the top side. Having a look at where we are currently, specifically on a 30-minute time frame, maybe even 15, because we need the detail. This is where we sit on USD CAD. There we go. Right. So considering the fact that we had this rising market structure, USD CAD kind of failed that structure, retested very specifically on that retest, just smacked it and then fell off there. Again, I was looking for a keener price action on a smaller time frame, whether we're going to get any sort of breakout here to the top side, but not necessarily seeing that right here in this moment in time, right? Again, could we get having a look at some of that fundamental data? Should that PMI data, right, just so you guys understand how to read this, this is in terms of 50, right? So anything above 50 is considered good, anything below 50 is negative for the Canadian dollar. So if we get a 57, even up to a 60, right, that's going to be good for the Canadian dollar, and it means that USD CAD will fall, right? Meaning the United States dollar will buy less and less of the Canadian dollar. Should we get a bad number, right? Should we get a even worse case? Should we get below 50, right? So if we get a 49 or 51 even, it's close to, that could obviously be, I would say, that is pretty much where, we'll see USD CAD shoot through the ceiling. The dollar will buy more and more of the Canadian. So what we're going to do here this afternoon is I'm literally just doing I'm doing a buy stop over here just in case, right? I'm going to do a buy stop just about there, just in case, and I'm going to just do a sell stop there. I'm not able to put in a limit, stop loss there, just from a perspective. I'm just waiting for this to take off. I'll read the dates and then choose what I'm going to do with that trade. So let's just put in, I'm doing a 30 points trailing stop just in case we get the data that pops off there. It's tiny, it's 3 pips, it's nothing much. IVPMI negative or 51.6, it's quite negative. IVPMI 50 flat, so not good for the Canadian. Under expectation. Let's see, USD CAD should start to buy, right? We should start the USD CAD buying right now. So I'm going to buy, maybe I'm just going to put in there 2 standard lots. I'm going to buy USD CAD and just see if we can see USD CAD punch through the ceiling there and work its way towards that top side. Again, we do know 5 o'clock we get a ton more volume in this market, so that's going to be worthwhile just paying attention to. In the background, we obviously just want to have a look at that. So let's have a look at that on a 1 minute time frame. 1 minute time frame, it should already be in profit. Let's have a look there. We should be punching through profit. Not big, not much. My cart was updating there. Not a ton of profit. You're not writing to your grandmother saying, Grandma, I'll quit my job and become a Forex trader. Not yet. Still a small bit of profit. But again, with a bit of time, we can see this build up. And let's see where it goes, right? If the dollar is positioned where we think it may be, then it may be worthwhile for us to hold on and see where that could end up going this afternoon. Okay, good stuff. So that is in profit right there. I've got a stop loss a little bit low. I've got a bigger pending order, 10 lots sitting. If we break out to the top side, again, just looking at the possibility of, I don't want to break out into retest, so I'm maybe just moving my pending order slightly higher, and now I'm going to be a responsible trader. And as always, do what I say, not as I do. I'm actually going to put in a stop loss here, because I tend to, a lot of times on the show, go and set up an order, go home, wake up in the middle of the night, so I've got an order running right out of nowhere, which is fine, right, provided we did our jobs, but it doesn't have a stop loss. That can be quite scary. So again, 1.36190, 1.36190 is kind of just where I'm just putting the stop loss for that pending order. Should we go through the ceiling there? I've got a pending order for interest sake. Again, not trade advice in any way, shape, or form, just in terms of where my trade is at. 1.3649, so meaning one United States dollar buying one Canadian 36 cents 49 pip is where I'm looking from a buy perspective. Okay, really switching over to the US 30. Right, we have not yet had the 5 o'clock reversal. This is going to be very, very interesting, right? For a couple reasons, right? We are rate retracing back there. We've hit the 61.8. Nice, beautiful retracement this afternoon. I'm looking at this diagonal retracement there, and I'm simply looking at, do we start to break out? Do we get above that 23.6? Because if we do, I may just be jumping in there for a buy. Again, we've met the minimum retracement. We've pulled back down to the 61.8. Again, just for everybody that's on the same page, this is the US 30, right? The US 30, you may love it, you may hate it. It is what it is. The counts are massive. It's fun, it's big. I think we're going to do the 5 o'clock reversal. I think the 5 o'clock reversal is going to be a topside move here, guys. Again, we are on that 503, 504 mark, but I'm seeing a little bit of a push. I'm seeing the potential for some move towards the top side. So I'm just waiting for that candle to pull back there. It's done a nice little bit of a pullback. I'm popping in a secondary buy order here. Again, because, you know, markets are pretty much pulled on back. Yeah, secondary buy is nicely in profit there. Beautiful push through to 23.6. I'm just going to have a bit of a bigger stop loss this afternoon. Not massive. It's only 150 pips, if you will. But again, I'm buying that breakout of this channel here towards that top side in terms of that 5 o'clock volume. We do see that 5 o'clock volume come into play. So what we'll do here is I'll bring out Trump on, let's be realistic. I'd say 250 pips would be nice. It would prove that we are in that little bit of a bull state there. So I'll bring out Trump on about 250 pips north side from our current position, or from this current position of where we're at the moment, this moment in time. So I'll pop in an alert there. Let's see. 250. Yeah, that's good. Plus minus in that range. Let's quickly give a look into NAS in terms of what NAS is up to. Whether we're seeing any sort of indication of there. NAS is kind of, oh guys, let me know how the audio is working out. Sound same. Okay. Broke the mic, afternoon. Yeah, and guys, that's just Monday for you. That's just Monday for you. That's how it goes. That's how it is. Let's quickly give it a look into NAS. NAS not really giving away too many of its secrets. Certainly NASDAQ is showing us that the New York Stock Exchange iceberg was pretty much mostly bearish, which is in line with our call for a 5 o'clock buy reversal, or my personal 5 o'clock buy reversal. Again, this is all about price action. So again, you know, if you caught the breakout this afternoon early at 3 o'clock, you wouldn't really care what's happening this afternoon from the New York Stock Exchange perspective, because you'd be in the money right out the get-go. So again, you want to get those indicators, you want to get a part of that. You're welcome to direct message me. We'll make a plan. We'll see what we can do. If you are a Premium Plus account holder, meaning more than $1,000 in your Global 360 Live account, I will make sure that you get access to these indicators. But again, you know, if you got that price action breakout early, right there at 3 o'clock, then it doesn't really matter what's happening this afternoon. You should be smiling, sitting with a big smile on your face, regardless of where markets want to be this afternoon. So let's see. We might have to fight a little bit for it this afternoon. I'm pretty content from a breakout perspective. Again, looking at US 30, that we more than likely, German 30, beautiful price action right there. German 30, you know, pretty much was on its way for that. Again, there's a 1 minute time frame. German 30 was on its way at 3 o'clock. So, you know, had a ton of that bull momentum. What I'm looking at German 30 this afternoon is just this change in structure there. You guys can see it. You don't need to, you know, be a price action nut to kind of like mark that out there. But just that little bit of a change in structure that it's coming just before the 5 o'clock mark. So German 30 pushes through, for me, technically speaking, I would say the German 30 makes just a little bit of a solid push there. And I look specifically for key areas, right? And a lot of people, I just draw this out and I don't necessarily explain it all the time. When we look at a diagonal, right, in terms of a market structure or move, right, this again is German 30. When we see a diagonal move and then that point of markets breaking or pushing for support and then breaking, that is a key area. So when I look for the next level that I want to go through, I want to go through that key supply demand zone that initially forced that breakout, right? Or at least forced a change in structure. So that for me is always key. I generally just draw it out and then go, right, that's my level. But a lot of people ask me, why am I putting that there? What's my thinking? So on and so forth. I can see we temporarily hit 250 pips there. I didn't bring out Trump, but there we go, 250 pips hit. We can do the Trump thing. You guys know what time it is. We've got our 5 o'clock reversal in this afternoon. It is beautiful things to see right there. So if you're in that buy, massive, secure yourself some profits there. Maybe shut down, maybe close half your position, if you will. But we've got that beautiful 5 o'clock reversal. Go ahead and share your screenshots. Nice little pump there. If you caught the buy as well as the sell, then what can I say? You're in the money this afternoon right here on Globex 360 Live TV. Guys, if you haven't done so already, smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Consider becoming a member, joining the channel for special perks and privileges. Let's really give it a look. My alerts are going nuts, but let's really give it a look into where we are currently sitting on that USD CAD position. Again, we are making nice big moves there. I'm moving my stop loss into break even and allowing the 5 o'clock run to happen. But let's see there, we now are well over 500 pips per position. So we got 3-4 positions here. You are smiling. Now just breached 600 pips. We'll bring out Trump for one last time this afternoon as we settle in to the balance of this show, right? I've got one position in there, a nice fat trade, but running over 6,000 pips in profit, continuing, or $6,000 in profit, sorry. Let's quickly measure here. We have a spiked out at 650 pips for the top side. However, don't call grandmom yet. You are not done or retiring as a trader right here, right now. Okay, so let's quickly have a look here. I did not, guess what I did? I made a boo-boo, right? I did not close my sell pending order. Guys, this is the danger. Luckily, it's it wasn't small, it was a 10 lot. Okay, so I'm closing that really quickly. Again, remember we set that little buy up there and a little sell up there, right? So I didn't close that out. That hurt me there, right? We can see the dollar index is pressing deep into that support zone. As I explained in the past, the support zone is there. It's a bit shaky. I would love to know your opinions on that in terms of the dollar index, but we are seriously testing that zone. Testing that zone, right, definitely means that we are going to see those higher highs looking at the US 30. Now, again, where we're currently at, we are absolutely smashing it. NASDAQ is probably doing even better. Again, NASDAQ looks like it's bigger moves, but from a pure pip count perspective, the leader here is definitely having a look at the US 30, right? NASDAQ moves, it's great, it's awesome, but the leader in terms of some of these breakouts is definitely the US 30. In terms of the breakout from NASDAQ, it looks like a massive move, but it's only about 230 pips. So from a gearing perspective, where is US 30 currently sitting at 550, 580 pips from that perspective. So for this afternoon session, I am simply, let me just maybe switch back to that chart that has a little bit more price action. There we go. For this afternoon session, again, 1 minute time frame with my Fibonacci in place. I'm not looking to trail my stop all the way into profit, right? I'm not looking to trail, again, because we've had that buy impulse, we've taken some profit there, doing a secondary buy in terms of that reversal. I'm not looking at trailing this. I'm simply putting my stop loss right here into break even, meaning no matter what happens in this market, I go to bed this afternoon an investor in US 30, right? Meaning if this thing continues to do 5, 10, 20,000 pips, I'm in it. If it completely reverses against me, I'm out for a profit, meaning I cannot lose any money. My stop loss is in profit. Again, subject to the markets someone not launching like a nuclear missile, right? That's the only thing I can kind of essentially dump my stop loss. But yeah, that's obviously something to be careful of, right? Stop loss doesn't guarantee with absolute certainty that it will be on at every single point in time. Let's just quickly have a look really quickly as we scan the markets this afternoon. I just want to have a look at, are markets saying anything about any sort of opportunities in terms of some of the news and some of the data that's out there. Let's give it a quick look. I don't think we're going to see much more data this afternoon. We may see some data on the Canadian, but I don't think we're going to see all too much. There is an article I do want to touch on really quickly, just before we wrap up this afternoon session together. This article is primarily over the fact that investors are stuck between a rock and a hard place from a pure data perspective, right? We've seen those red hot previous month NFPs, massive data, massive CPI numbers. We've seen employment data right up there. Unemployment is sitting at a 54-year low for the US. We're just seeing all this massive data. However, we listen to the earnings reports. We're listening to Wall Street. We're listening to some of these massive companies. Costco there behind me really briefly, saying that some of the consumer spending is slowing down. People are making slightly risk-off approaches, or at least cutting back on some of these luxuries. So we're getting all these conflictory data points, right? And so this article, we'll share it as well, is pretty much how investors are feeling bombarded, right, with analysis paralysis, meaning they're over-analyzing, looking at all the data. However, all I can say to sort of remedy this is price action is king. You guys know the drill. When everything else is in doubt, look at pure price action, look at pure breakouts. The data tends to follow. So that is definitely something we want to be paying a little bit more attention to. So when you see a ton of information, a ton of data, fundamentals, great. Sentimental, great. Opinion, great. The reality is price action is king. It's been the one form analysis that has stood the test of time. Again, something just we prefer to follow, prefer to pay attention to. Just looking at where we are, continuing as we wrap up this afternoon session, continuing to absolutely dominate, looking at US 30 this afternoon, right? US 30, nice big push towards the top side, nice healthy move. We are still currently running well over 500 pips in profit. Again, a big week this week. We are trading Powell's testimonies tomorrow as well as Wednesday. Thursday's going to be big. And then, got to mention, guys, a massive let's go, baby, because we essentially have NFT this Friday. So we are trading NFT Friday live. But again, if you are a Globex 360 account holder with more than $1,000 in your account, it means we're going to do the advanced prep session together, meaning going past all past data, looking at the outcomes, probabilities of certain numbers being read. And again, paying attention to Paul's testimony is going to give us that kind of information that we can obviously pay attention to, or at least utilize in making some of those trading decisions, looking at the NFT on Friday. Going to be big, going to be massive. I can see Carl saying that DXY currently sitting at 103.9. Let's quickly give that a look just before we wrap up this afternoon. Having a look at that dollar index. Dollar index is pushing my DXY. Again, if you are utilizing the Globex 360 terminal, then again, these are the numbers that we rely on. The DXY dollar index currently sitting at 104.21. So again, when I speak about figures, I'm speaking about our figures, our instruments, our settings, your instruments, your settings. Again, if you're utilizing a different broker or looking at a different platform, then essentially that is essentially, you'll be seeing different numbers. Even more importantly, why you have a Globex 360 live account. There's no other broker on the planet that does this for their clients, guys, who allows live trading, live analysis, open debate, live trading, fundamental trading, right? Most brokers out there, if you trade the fundamentals too well, they just don't pay you, right? I trade live with you guys right here, which is big stuff. It's massive. It's amazing. If you don't have a Globex 360 live account, you know the drill. Link down below. What are you doing? You cannot trade with anybody else. That is madness. You might as well just take your money. If you're trading with someone else, you might as well go onto the street, tear up your money, or at least donate it, give it to somebody, right? Better for the economy and for other people, right? Be kind. All right, let's quickly have a look here. Andy's asking, do I have a TP for US City? No, I want to ride US City out. Again, considering where we are right now, again, having a look behind me, this is on a 30-minute time frame. We're on that rising channel. We're buying right in this area of this rising channel. We've cleared some previous levels. Just have a look there. And so, you know, the obvious TP is obviously going to be the top of this channel. If I have to zoom out, the obvious TP zone, if I can say that, would be right somewhere over there. So ideally, I want to see this move up to, let's see, 33,695. 33,695 is where I would obviously not want to give back all of my gains. But again, I'd like to hold this all the way into, and the reason why I'm not doing a TP or trailing stop here specifically is I'd like to hold this trade all the way into the Powell test me for tomorrow. So again, should he say something that upsets the dollar, again, you need to understand that the stock market is waiting for any sort of indication that Powell will say, hey, interest rates, you know, are looking, the regional plan is in place, right? They're not going to be extremely aggressive. The interest rates are hurting the stock market, right? The interest rates are hurting the markets across the board as a whole. So lightening off on the gas pedal for interest rate, anything, right, said that can sort of help the stock market would force a continuation on USD. That's why I'd really like to hold and be in a position until tomorrow for the interest rate announcement. Again, you know, worst case, if, you know, if he does something crazy, we just thought, but ideally I'd like to be in that buy. Looking at 1 minute time frame, if you guys are still in this trade, you could be absolutely smashing it across the board. Share the love, share your screenshots. That is what it is all about. We love to hear and see. Bring out Trump one last time as we say goodbye this afternoon. You guys know the drill. Remember to live, learn, and trade the Globex 360 way. And until I see you guys all tomorrow, you have a Globex 360 live account. It's going to be big, going to be massive. I'll see you there. Goodbye.